Coming up on show 822, the Lordstown Endurance is unveiled in a strange kind of show. Stick around, I'll give you the details. Plus on the podcast today, we're talking about the vans coming from the company PSA, like Peugeot and Citroën, and why, actually, it's a good reason to be excited about vans. If you have a Model Y and you'd like a tow package, you can now get that aftermarket. Same goes for a spoiler for your Teslas, the new Ford F-150 hybrid, and the Volkswagen plug-in hybrid van. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is the edition for what happened on Saturday, the 27th of June. My name is Martyn Lee, and I go through every EV story, so you don't have to. Thank you, as always, to myev.com for helping me make the show, have done for the last couple of years. Great resource in the US, good for buyers, good for sellers, good for dealers, good for those wanting to investigate things like warranties, very important with EVs. And it is free to use. As they say, profits are not as important as people. And they're just so much behind people moving to EVs as quickly as possible. It's a great site. So let's kick off with the Lordstown Endurance. It's a pickup truck that is going to be out this year, and it has been unveiled. Lordstown Endurance is a very conventional looking pickup truck, and the rally, we'll call it, was held because that's what it was, really. It was a premiere event. The Lordstown Endurance electric pickup was shown off yesterday, and the weird thing was the show that they put on. Let's forgive them the dodgy camera work. Let's forgive them the dodgy sound with large chunks of it that you couldn't hear, and ask why Vice President Mike Pence was on stage with the prototype, hitting all the usual themes that they'll be talking about in the presidential campaign for Donald Trump's re-election at the end of the year. Very, very strange to have the Vice President of the United States at an EV launch. I'm not sure what to make of this. Of course, I'm thousands of miles away and have very little knowledge of American politics, but it felt like a political rally, and it happened to be in front of an electric truck which was trying to be unveiled. Now, the interesting thing about the Lordstown Motors Endurance, the electric truck, is that it's got hub motors. That's the most interesting thing about it, is there's four-wheel drive, 600 horsepower combined, about 250 miles of range, which is not the best, but I guess it's okay. It's going to be more of a working vehicle, sold into fleets and things like that. There's going to be 120 volt outlets you can use to power your tools and things like that. 7 kilowatt onboard charger, 30 of them. 30 of them will be made this year. They say they have 14,000 pre-orders or letters of intent already for these. The truck is just okay. I mean, you know, if you compare it to a Cybertruck or a Rivian, it's probably going to be overshadowed, but it's not meant to be a Cybertruck. It's very conventional looking, and it's not really meant to be a Rivian, because that's Rivian definitely going after the adventure lifestyle kind of thing, and this is, like I say, aimed at fleets and working vehicles, and so it's interesting, but I'm just not sure why they had to make a political rally out of the thing. Anyway, the price is going to be $52,500 before any tax credits. Of course, it will be eligible for the tax credit because they haven't sold any of them yet, if the tax credit is indeed around or extended. So that was the unveiling, but it wasn't really an unveiling. It sort of was. I'm feeling very conflicted about the whole thing. Anyway, moving on. PSA, the company that own Peugeot and Citroën, and actually Opel/Vauxhall, are coming out with a really compelling list of medium-sized electric vans. Now, look, I know that we get excited talking about roadsters and Cybertrucks, but these are the light commercial vehicles that are going to be doing hundreds of thousands of miles in their lifetime. They're going to be delivering your Amazon parcels and your fruit and veg. They're going to be moving people around as well, because you can put the seats inside and use them as minivans and people carriers. So when you look at what's coming, Citroën have got their E-Jumpy, or the E-Jumper, because it's called different things in different countries. There's the Peugeot E-Expert. There's the Opel and Vauxhall Vivaro E. They're all going to be vans, but they come in a panel van, in a compact, a standard, and a long wheelbase. They come with crew cabs as well for, ferrying 4, 5, 6 crew around, and with a platform cab as well. So you've got the cab on the front, but what goes on the back? Well, it could be a flatbed, could be any sort of thing that you need to make a working vehicle into. There's like combis, so not very luxurious seating in the back, but a utility minivan for ferrying people around. Then they have the more upmarket premium vans that are coming. Again, you might call it a minivan or a minibus. The Citroën E-Space Tourer, the Peugeot E-Traveller, and the Vauxhall Opel Zafira E-Life, or the Vivaro E-Life. And again, these are going to be the kind of luxury business shuttles. I'm talking about blacked out windows on the back and seating 7 or 8 people in luxury, kind of armchair style seating, doing airport runs, or hotels will have them. And they offer them in 2 different battery sizes as well. 50 kilowatt hours and 75 kilowatt hours. The big one doing around 205 miles, the smaller one about 143 miles. That is 230 or 330 kilometers respectively. They can tow up to 1,000 kilograms. They're modular, and the pricing, certainly, most working vehicles are either going to be on a lease, or you look at total cost of ownership on these things. The pricing is competitive as well. So that is the summary, with the help of my friends at Inside EVs, the summary of where we got to over the last 3 to 4 weeks. We kind of drip fed each of these different launches as they've come in, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time just going through in one segment all of these business vehicles, these light commercial vehicles, these 9-seat passenger vehicles that are coming to the market, at least coming to Europe as well, and why I'm so excited about them, because finally there's not going to be just 2 or 3 passenger cars for sale, Teslas at the top end and city cars at the bottom, but working vehicles. These cars, these vans rather, are going to be doing so many miles. They just, for every mile they do, it's just a diesel van that is off the road. Well done, PSA, and bring on your competitors. Bring on Fiat Chrysler doing the same, and bring on VW doing the same. Really, bring on Ford doing the same with the Transit. Looking forward to it. It's cool. Tesla are launching a Model Y tow package, aftermarket tow package. Just as I was saying to somebody the other day that if you didn't order your Model Y brand new with the tow package, you're out of luck, or you got to go for a third-party system now. Tesla have launched their own aftermarket Model Y tow package. We always knew that the cutout on the rear bumper was there for towing, even though Tesla would spend a long time denying the Model, weirdly, going out their way, the Model Y can't tow, when actually there was always a cutout of the plastic that would pop out. And then when the first deliveries happened, Model Y owners made YouTube videos and they popped out the panel, and that's where you tow behind it. Anyway, in the end, Tesla admitted, oh yes, no, the Model Y can tow. Sorry about that. And actually, if you want to spend $1,200, you can get the official aftermarket solution that has a slight anomaly in. Maybe you can explain that, how it works. If you have a Model Y with the 19s or the 21s, the 19-inch or the 21-inch wheels, you can tow 2,000 or £3,500. But if you have the 20-inch wheels sandwiched between them, you can only tow £2,300. Tow mode, of course, comes on Model Y. But why does the small and the big wheel tow £3,500, but the 20 inches only tow 2,300? Don't quite understand. I might have missed something very easily. Could be a typo, possibly even on the description. It gets fixed or something. And also, talking of aftermarket stuff, an aftermarket Model 3 spoiler. If you like the carbon fibre spoiler that comes with the performance model, Reminder that in the US, they always had the performance, and then you could get the performance upgrade pack for free. Over here, we never had that in the configurator. If you went performance, you always got the wheels, the brakes, the spoiler, the lowered suspension, the aluminium pedals, the higher top speed. You could get, in other markets, not here, but in other markets, you could get a Tesla that was a performance, but without those extra gubbins. However, now, if you particularly want to add a spoiler onto your Model 3, you can do for the small price of $800. Of course, very lightweight, carbon fiber, looks the part, looks fantastic. It's got that cool black carbon fiber look, if you particularly want to spend your money on one. Clean Technica are taking a look at the Ford F-150 Hybrid. The Ford F-150 Hybrid is, they say, like bringing a knife to a gunfight. And they say that because they say that Ford could have provided a mild hybrid version of the Ford F-150. A few days ago, they were hyping up the all-new Ford F-150 on Twitter. And someone commented that they wouldn't have a full EV for a couple of years. But it was rumoured that they would have a hybrid powertrain. And says Clean Technica, well, Ford could well be seen as being behind the industry for not having a full electric truck coming sooner than a couple of years away. So, by releasing the Ford F-150 Hybrid, they probably thought they were doing the right thing. A powerful electric motor and being able to say it's got some battery power as well. But it's a 35 kilowatt electric motor producing 47 horsepower. That is not the most. In fact, it's not very much either, actually, 47 horsepower, because even, pretty average EV, some plug-in hybrids can outdo that. So should Ford have just said, we're going to go full EV with the Ford F-150 rather than trying to release a hybrid version? Or is this all about miles per gallon? Or this is all about eking out the final last few years of combustion and saying, we're just trying to get a bit more mileage and efficiency out of effectively a Ford F-150. Smaller battery pack on this, 1.5 kilowatt hours is probably just enough to get the car off the line and maybe provide some extra power when you're out and about. Like 1.5 kilowatt hours is a tiny, tiny battery. Should Ford, with the F-150, have made more of an effort to make it more of an electric car? Or, because they do make all of their money off the F-150, are they just playing it safe, playing it sensibly, and bringing us an electric version in a couple of years' time? I kind of agree with Clean Technica. I just wish they'd been a bit more ambitious on this. Well, Autoblog say that carbon dioxide emissions from new cars in Europe rose for a third year running in 2019. New data shows yesterday, and car makers are lagging the European Union's upcoming climate goals. The car makers have got to really significantly reduce their emissions, or they'll get hit with really big fines. Now, Autoblog say that to meet and avoid paying huge fines, car makers at the minute are having to slash their emissions by 22% from 2019 levels. And the 2020 target caps CO2 emissions from the fleet of all the cars they sell at 95 grams of CO2 per kilometre, and that many of the car makers are a long way off hitting this. So, in order to avoid the fines, they've got to be releasing more EVs and to be doing it quicker as well. We can't just rely on countries like Norway, which have half of new cars sold are battery electric, 3/4 have a plug socket on. We can't rely on small markets like that. The numbers are impressive, but the total size of Norway is too small. They've got to be doing more in those bigger car markets. And otherwise, these automakers are going to get to the end of the year and they're going to have some hefty, hefty fines to pay because they weren't ready with enough EVs. One of the companies which would deny they aren't ready is VW, putting a lot of their reputation on the line with electric cars. And now we see the next generation Transporter. The VW Transporter has been in all places. I mean, it's going to be used for building and moving people, but it's hit the track. It's hit the Nürburgring. It's the Transporter T7. And this is the passenger version of the T7. It's always weird to see these big things on race tracks, but I suppose they've got to test them, haven't they? And this looks like it's a plug-in hybrid version, and so maybe they're using the same powertrain as the Golf GTE, the Passat GTE. There's some Skodas and Seat models as well, which it shows up in, like the Audi A3 e-tron. So that's a 1.4 litre petrol engine, and then an 85 kilowatt electric motor, almost, and combined output of about 241 brake horsepower on that. Could be what is going inside this as well. A new plug-in hybrid. Good stuff from VW. Rivian have put out a new video today. Okay, so it is tightly edited, but it does show the R1T, the truck, banging around the desert by the look of it, amongst some cactus plants and up and down hills and going over rocks, and then it hits the asphalt and a bit of sideways action. It's a couple of minutes long. It's a great video. Really cements Rivian's place as being a kind of adventure and off-road, or at least maybe like trailblazing, if you like, experience for those wanting a truck during the week and then to get a bit of off-roading done at the weekend, or just adventure riding at the weekend. And so I'll pop a link in the show notes if you want to see it. It's really beautifully filmed. They've had the drone out following the truck at 50 miles an hour. Some exceptional shots on this. I did get very nerdy when there's a slow motion. It's sitting in some soft gravel, some soft dirt, and at a standstill, and then they floor it, and it accelerates away, and it is kind of nerdy seeing all four wheels spinning, and then the kind of traction control kind of kicking in, seeing the front one spin a bit more, but the rear one's going to grip up a little bit, and watching the software divert the power. All right, it's nerdy, I know, I'm sorry, but some nice cinematic slow-mo shots of the Rivian going sideways. Excited for this car now. The more and more I see it, the more I get it. I didn't get the Rivian for a very long time, compared to some people. Like, I was always excited about it, but it's like people have been going loopy over Rivian for a while now, and I've not quite managed to kind of latch on to that craze. But watching this video today, which is titled on YouTube "To the Max," looks cool. Actually, looks really cool. I love the testing they're doing on it. Final story. Germany is betting everything on electric cars, says Jalopnik today. Earlier in June, the German government announced a huge economic stimulus package with sweeping incentives pushing the country toward an electric transit future. According to Bradley at Jalopnik today, the German incentive scheme is something like 130 billion euros on a recovery plan post-COVID, and that plan is all about involving cash for Germans to buy EVs. They want a big national infrastructure of charging. They want a big investment in public transit via electric, and they want to incentivize people to go EV. So big incentives in Germany. You get 9,000 euros back in combined incentives, 6,000 from the government, 3,000 from the manufacturer, and that's cars priced that's up to 40 grand. So that's a lot of money off a 40 grand car. It basically knocks 10 grand, knocks a quarter off the price. From 40 to 60, you get 7,500 euros back in incentives. Plug-in hybrids up to 40 grand can also get almost 7 grand back, and those that are more expensive hybrids still get over 5 grand off. So huge incentives in Germany. They've got one of the most attractive incentive packages in the world right now for pure electric cars. Who would have thought, actually, Germany, with all of their car industry so good at making combustion engines, going really, really big on incentivizing pure electric vehicles and people chopping in their old cars and going for an EV. Good on you, Germany. All right, question of the week this week, asking you, and I'll read it out on Sunday's show, what you think we can do to incentivize EVs that have got green plates or green stickers in the windows. Thank you very much for all of your emails to hello@evnewsdaily.com, or leave a comment on the YouTube show. Thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon, which is how we fund the show. Thank you very much to those very kind supporters, and you can be one if you want to check out what it's all about. Go to patreon.com/EVNewsDaily. Premium partners of the show: Phil Roberts from Electric Future, EF.Energy. If you want to check out Phil's website, Brad Crosby, also Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group for Clean Tech Talent, Porsche of the Village in Cincinnati, Audi of Cincinnati East, Volvo Cars of Cincinnati East, and now nationalcarcharging.com and Aloha Charge. Have a wonderful day. Catch you tomorrow, and remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.